that's very insightful when you all are implementing and passing your check, writing checks. So, over to you, sir. Sir, you are handling a lot of positions right now. You're handling a position at Wockhardt. You're leading BMA. It's very inspiring to see. So, I have many questions, but I have just jotted down two questions. How can management institutions help build sustainability leaders, and what role are professional bodies such as BMA playing in order to include sustainability trainings in their members?
Sure. Thank you very much, Asha. Before I answer this question, let me do my honors of thanking all of you coming over here and Harsha for helping us organize this. Welcome all the speakers. I want to do in the beginning, but then the question came in the last, so I'm welcoming you here. So, thank you very much, sir, Pramod sir, for specifically coming over here. Let me ask you, how many are from Bombay, by the way? Okay. Are you a member of BMA?
Yes.
If you are not, please do register it today itself. I learned from Valia sir today that you need to, we start at home. So, starting from you, become a member of BMA. BMA is the leading body in
I endorse that. I sincerely endorse that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a great asset in the future. I became a member of BMA in 1987 or 88 sometime for a few hundred rupees. Some 300-400 rupees, 500 rupees I paid, and I became a life member. And I have never, regretted, because the kind of advice I get, the, knowledge I get, and I have been getting over the years, is very invaluable.
We invited you to talk on independent life.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for endorsing this. Before I come to the topic, we do a lot of initiatives with
Sir,
respect
you
to
mentioned we are affiliated to All India Management.
our IMA also. And just on the financial part, the membership of IMA is in lakhs, the membership of BMA is in thousands. So before we start raising the membership, you can take it.
They intend to double it, huh?
Yeah, we intend to double it, of course. That was on that side. We do a lot of initiatives, as I was talking about. We did a program on market intelligence, we did a program on L&D and HR summit, and of course recently we did a program in academics and of course CSR. I'll answer your second question first. That what is BMA doing with respect to increasing awareness? We are in discussions with a few of the bodies. We are going to conduct a summit on CSR, and we definitely welcome you also in that and to help in organizing it. And it is our summits are normally in locations like 5 stars, and we call who's who of the industry accordingly. So we look forward to you to attend that particular, and at the same time we look forward some case studies and some champions who have really implemented those aspects. So our role as management body is to increase awareness and create champions so that it creates more champions. That is what BMA is. Coming to the question you asked with respect to how we can further ensure that ESG can play a bigger role in that. Let me share with you that ESG at one time was just a hype. It was voluntary, but today it is mandatory also, I suppose. Incidentally, I am not a ESG champion. I'm dealing with the leadership development who ensure ESG development. So that is how, and ESG should be the part of business strategy, as mentioned by ma'am, and it should happen in such a manner that it should not be forced. And India is a vast country, You go to station, there are public. You go to airport, there is a public. You go to hospital, there is a public. Okay, ensuring that the way we are growing very fast, we have to ensure that ESG becomes a part of the system. Systemic changes have to be done. Otherwise, if you are band-aiding, it will not improve. It will just be a superficial thing. So that is how some of the trends which are there. I've noted down 5 trends which are there. One is the green AI. We call it. Green ecosystem is required, but today green AI is coming up very strong, and that is one area you all can invest in your development of skills, because AI being there, but if I do not know how to use AI in order to implement ESG, it will be of no use. They say no that since I am a digital mentor also, I will make this statement a lot. AI will not replace you, but people who know AI will replace you. Okay, so that is exactly what it is important, that I should understand what green AI is and how to implement those strategies accordingly. For example, the reporting metrics, earlier it was on the Excel sheets. They have moved to systems now, softwares now. So product as a system, it has moved on that. So I should be aware there are a lot of softwares available, Madam will be knowing better, which you can master it. You will be definitely sought after person in case you master those softwares accordingly. Because I am myself using one software, because I am ensuring the implementation of the strategy. So whatever change management we do as a commonsensical thing, firstly ensure quantity. पहले quantity आ जाए उसके बाद हम quality ensure करते हैं. That is what the system is. First we make sure that it becomes जैसे the way Jio introduced. They introduced at what 100 rupees or 50. And खून लग गया तो फिर उसको बढ़ा देते. Right? Similarly, any change management we do, you have to ensure the quantity first and then you ensure the quality accordingly. Improvement in the quality. That is aspect. Some of the international examples which are there is IKEA, and which is doing a lot in is reporting as well as green AI. At the same time, there is another example called Patagonia, which again does a lot of things, particularly with respect to repairability, resale, as well as quality recycling. These are some of the very crucial examples. I took up a session few days back. That's the reason I remember these aspects. The third is the decarbonizing supply chain. Supply chain consumes a lot of carbon, and I think there is a term called Scope 3. Scope 3, which has to be implemented, particularly to reduce the transport emissions. So that's something which can be considered there. Also, there is a lot of scope for the young graduates to master those aspects into that. And finally, I will stop over here that if through ESG I am adding value to the organization, then I'll be considered value creator. Otherwise, I am just pushing the things. Okay, so if I'm part of the business strategy, I'm adding value. It should not be on the reporting that for the SEBI only.
Yeah.
It should be intrinsic systemic changes which are ensuring that we are bringing out sea change in the organization, which is also resulting in profits at the same time, which is also resulting in human value creation. That will help us out. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
I can keep on going, but my knowledge is limited.
Thank you for all the insights.
That could be humble, sir.
Yeah. On this note, I would request for final comments from all our speakers, and then we'll open to all the participants who ask their questions. Vikesh sir.
Harsha, I must compliment you first. We always say that we don't have people bored on ESG. The people in board will only arrive when there are people at the bottom. So when there are people learning the basics and fundamentals of ESG, those are the people will be traveling upwards to the boards. So what IICSR is doing is a fantastic job. Let us all compliment the brand institute she has created. It's a big achievement, and India hasn't got any one such in the private sector. Government is doing its effort through IICA, but in the private sector, I think what you have created is phenomenal. That needs to be celebrated in a bigger way.
Absolutely.
So that's all I want to say. That I'm sure and confident that the breed that she's bringing from bottom will travel up to the force. No stopping.
Thank you, sir. We have to learn from you how to scale things up. So yeah, there's a lot to learn from you, sir. Challenge.
Well, I did know what Mr. Walia said. Absolutely amazing institute that you created. Very required, and I'm honored to be on the advisory board of this institute. So looking forward to seeing some of you in the upcoming conference as well. I think all that I'm going to say is that, and I may have partially also said this earlier, that ESG, sustainability is a journey. ESG is a strategy. ESG is what Lena would use, I would not use as a professional, because what I would go through when I sit on the other side is the entire sustainability journey, where ESG would give me ESG is basically a metrics of how I look at my E, S and G lens. Let's not forget we are in India, and one of the very critical lenses when you are below poverty line, and I keep reminding this, don't think I'm only saying this because I'm from Tatas. I'm saying this for this country. Why did we take a goal of 2070? Is many of you must be also very perplexed. Is that this country still today has a population sitting under 55%, being discriminated, not being given the right to be out there to do what they should be doing. Even fundamental rights like education, rights like access to clean water, access to food. Food scarcity is one of the important issues of the country. While we talk about all the glamorous part, if a ESG strategist is not aligned and thinks that it's a CSR professional's job, you will not get the seat on the table. Okay? And it's a very important part, and absolutely well governed. So it has to be built into the model. One is that let's not forget the social part for a country like ours. The first 5 SDGs actually map the social part, and therefore they exist there. Very important for India. The second important aspect is, let's not think of ourselves as ESG professionals. Just because Lena gives money, she calls it ESG. We take money, so we have to call it what our journey is, sustainability. The third important aspect is, it needs to be at the core of this business strategy. Therefore, you should have great relationships with your business leaders. It cannot be a head which is basically a cost head, as we call it. So bring in value, and I think even Dr. Jagmohan mentioned about it. Value creation, very critical. Will not be critical for many of the manufacturing sector guys, but will definitely be very critical for financial institutions and others where it's a very small initiative. So that's what I'll say. All the best to all of you. I'm sure you will. The fact that you upgraded your knowledge will take you far in this journey, and without any doubt, you've been in the best hands and the best institute. So all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
First of all, of course, congratulations to you for setting this up. And what I want to bring on the table is, I think all of you here are doing some exceptional, incredible, path-breaking things. So be proud of, because it's extremely needed for the generations to come here. And I come from a very layman kind of terminology on the other side of the table. So I would, just coming directly from the heart, right? That you guys are really doing wonderful. What I summarize is, maybe you're an amalgamation of strategists, executions, and change, transformational leaders. Yeah. So be extremely proud of yourself of whatever journey you've undertaken within the sustainability goals, and go for it. Yeah. So congratulations. All the best.
Thank you, Tej. So I'm a practitioner, and I would like to just tell you that you need to be learning continuously. It is an evolving space. Things change very rapidly. New concepts keep coming, measurements, even if you're looking at just measurement of scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, there are various methodologies that are being established. There are global forums that are also looking at it. So it is very important to stay up to date on the key developments that are happening, because that's something that will be very, very important. That is something that you will not learn in any textbook. It will be only through understanding, attending sessions like this, being part of forums, reading the developments that are happening across, including what is happening globally. India, of course, has its own journey, but also understanding what is happening overseas is important in this entire space. Uh, it's something that is driven by passion. ESG is entirely about, as Shalini mentioned, it is all about feeling it. But beyond feeling it, if you need to find practical solutions, you also need to be aware of what is happening around. So keep your eyes and ears open, and I wish you all the very best. And of course, congratulations to you. I did not know such a forum existed where you are training in sustainability. Of course, now all the B schools are also coming up with courses, but this is for professionals who are already working. So it's really amazing to see this. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much, and I hope that one of the days you'll also join us as guest speaker.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure to be. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So,
I think my final word is that let us continue to work towards that. There are a few champions like them who are working exclusively for the ESG part. They know the processes, how to implement ESG. At the same time, everybody here has a responsibility that we make everybody aware. In fact, I was in one of the conferences there. I came to know a few facts that how many of Gen Z, anybody here? Gen Z is more aware about ESG than millennials, according to me. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
In fact, there's a real example. One of my friend's son is about 11, 12 years of age. They were trying to replace the curtains, and they went to that shop, the Pride in Bandra, and he asked this question. I mean, when making this curtain, was some animal cruelty done? The shop owner was shocked. So that's a kind of awareness Gen Zs have it today. And I think if they can have it, that is what the problem is, that we don't take it. So if they can have it, we can also have it. My wife always scolds me in case I bring a bottle of water. So it starts from.
That's very well said.
Starts with each other.
Thank you very much. All the best to you and congrats to you.
Thank you.
And we will support you from BMA, whatever initiative is there, and whenever we are having the ESG summit, we will invite you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the audience?
So basically, I have been on the other side, implementing things in one of the organizations. I would just like to share my experience and my questions here. Basically, we say this is a long time journey, but how are we looking to achieve 2070 what the country has been targeted? I have seen in the boards, however, it's just because the DRSR is mandate, things are being followed. Not on the core level, because they feel they don't want to invest the budget. Okay, fine, the ACs are switched off, the time is off, that's a bit less savings, they look forward. But not on the bigger stretch, because their core is not there. They have their principal sales or principal structure that is already in place, but their core is not on the ESG, right? So how do we tackle those things? Even the board members, maybe it's just as a part of the presentation, you have a committee, you explain things, we have achieved this, but there is no pathway that has been followed in the organization, because it's just a mandate, we are just giving it, of course, I have to follow, I'm just reporting some disclosures. And once the DRSR is again reported, I don't know how much of that DRSR is validated by the SEBI. Now, I don't think anyone is even validating. The numbers are changing or whatever they report. Second thing, one of the interviews I attended, the director himself asked me, why you want to go into the ESG? It's part of just certification or just the reporting. So how we tackle this higher level? I think you also mentioned it's a journey. The new generation would go up and they would build up that. But I think it will take time to achieve at that level who will reach at the board level. But at today's, how are we looking to tackle these things and control that board and management? This is real thing that we need in the journey.
Okay, so on a lighter note, change your board. Okay, so I think this is what I said, that the board has to be the steward of purpose of the organization while you are a change manager. I'll tell you what can be done and is done in many organizations. In the risk committee, it should be a risk for you. It's a very big risk for your organization. should be taken as a risk. There has to be a proper risk mitigation plan for this. That risk mitigation plan should be then presented to this committee, not BRSR. Understand an independent director. He is not a compliance manager. He's constantly, what is his lighthouse? His lighthouse is, I don't want to go down. I don't want to do the job of the CEO. Let him do the job of the CEO. I want to give him independence. I want to ask the right question. So, if they're all sounding like old school independent directors out there for sitting free, so in that case, it needs to be highlighted to the risk committee as a risk. You have to do extra homework to find out what should be your sustainability vision as an organization that you are. Who's doing a better job globally in India? Where would you like to go? This homework cannot be done by your CEO or your board. This homework is what will show them what it can. This is the value that Dr. Jagmohan talked about. If you don't show that value, you are the expert. They are not the expert. I did the NL Chevron benchmarking to say that globally, if these companies can do it, why can't we be the benchmark in India and do it as Tata Power? Similarly, Arvind is in Patagonia that he mentioned. IKEA and Patagonia. Patagonia is a textile company, which basically is a great example of circularity. It is the only company where the CEO and the board and obviously the ESG guy has done the job, sustainability guy, to give that picture that every collection that I come out with, there'll be a recycled collection, and how they use their own material to recycle garments, and people buy it, right? IKEA as well. But the IKEA's sustainability officer is a brilliant guy who has shown this vision and gotten the buy-in. So there is a little bit of a buy-in job that needs to come in, and there has to be a vision board for your sustainability value creation. And that's where you should take expert views like do like a live workshop for yourself. If you don't know it, because there are companies within Tata's who are very small, they don't know it. So what they do is they call few sustainability officers from the Tata Group companies and do a vision board for themselves without paying for it. If you ask any sustainability professional to come in and critique your sustainability, we'll be more than happy to help. You should do that.
Just a general answer to this is that whatever profession, whatever career you are in, you have to do sales, selling internally, and you have to pitch and increase the visibility. Whether you are in learning and development, DMC, ESG, CSR, you have to show kind of visibility and add value. अगर आप कुछ bottom line और top line को add कर रहे हो through this initiative, think yourself as a business person, entrepreneur.
And I will give you a very simple, way of doing this. Do a sustainability day and call a few sustainability experts on what your company can do with that kind of a brief. Start them thinking. Sometimes when they don't listen internally, you should get external guys to come in and give them a little bit of a food for thought, and then basis that you develop your dialogues as you go along.
It's about the perspective in which you look at it. And ESG is also an opportunity. It could be a soft opportunity for the company in terms of brand equity or there could be commercial gains as well. We don't realize that because we feel it's a burden and it needs to be done and reporting is there. You just feel overwhelmed by the whole thing. But if you actually get into the details of it, you actually realize that there is an opportunity for the organization there. That opportunity is what you need to be able to catch.
For that, organizations majorly, I have attended the board meetings as a manager, the CEO and all. What is the first point they come is what is the benefit they have.
Exactly.
And they don't want that soft benefit to be on the front
Yeah.
end.
Even
They
on
always want
commercial
commercial
side,
benefit.
you will find that. But if you are able to show one or two use cases where they are able to see commercial value, it will automatically start getting aligned. Then you will realize there will be one or two people, senior people, who will understand saying, yes, this is something that we should start looking at. So it will happen. Just keep nudging the organization.
So, on this note, you also have a question.
Yeah, but very
Okay.
just a very short question.
$10
A small one. Yeah.
Just
Just a follow-up, to her question, and also a little on a broader level. You see, we talked about governance, and we know how important that is. So, my question is, how does government design climate change policy to survive political cycles and leadership changes at the political level, at the top, and to resist the board? To overcome board resistance. How would a policy be designed?
You said how would government design
A policy
Yeah.
that survives a political cycle, because every government is 5 years, right? But the policy should continue no matter what. So to survive the political cycle and the leadership changes that will inevitably happen, either natural
See, government
death
is the best person to answer that.
Yeah, but what is
Mr. Trump is the
what
best
is
person
the
to answer.
what would be the
Mr. Trump is the
recommendation on
best
a
person to
policy
answer.
level?
So, the BRSR came in largely to basically, stonewall any government changes for the intent that we have of 2070. Okay. The government of India does not decide this on its own. It was decided in COP26, in COP23, the goal that country took. So it's a global decision that you make, depending on a lot of other factors. It's not your own government which can change it can only bring it ahead. If it takes it ahead, it is going to be a huge issue at a global level, wherever they have signed it. But having said that, the BRSR in the short term, as a regulation, takes care of this, and there is no other way that you can actually, in any way help this, because look at what Trump has done to US, right?
So while Trump has done something to the US, I would say that the momentum has not really stopped, especially in the global south. So in the Asian countries and all, you are still finding countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, them are extensively adopting sustainability.
Exactly, that will survive the political
Even
cycle.
in India, if you see the kind of work that is happening, it is happening in bits and pieces in various areas. So one of the things, like I'll give you a simple example, one of the things that the government has now done is they have said, okay, hard to abate sectors need to start decarbonizing. I will set targets for them. So they have now actually identified 9 sectors, but they have said for 4 sectors, we are now saying that, okay, in 26, you are going to reduce your emission intensity by so much. Next year, you are going to reduce your emission intensity by so much. So they have already set targets on some of the large companies. That is one step they have taken. On the other side, they are trying to put in institutions in place. One is like the carbon credit trading system. They understand that nobody can completely get decarbonized. So it's not possible to be carbon neutral. So you need to have alternatives of carbon credits where you can go and buy them. So they are trying to put that mechanism in place. They are trying to develop a taxonomy. They are taking NDC targets which are all short term. 2030 already met. Now they're coming up with 2035 targets. So if you look at even in the agri space, the agriculture is a very sensitive, politically sensitive area, as you're mentioning. But in agriculture also now government is coming up with climate resistant seeds. They are coming up with regenerative agriculture. They are talking about adaptation in agriculture. They are asking banks also to start looking at these areas for financing. So I would say work is happening. Maybe there is not too much noise being made. But if you get into the details of things, of the way things are being put in place, as I mentioned, you keep reading and looking at it, you understand that there is a bigger picture somewhere and they're just trying to put the puzzle in place. So the pieces once they're set, automatically the country will also start working in a cohesive way. See, you cannot disrupt. ESG can be disruptive. You cannot disrupt the journey in a country like us. As she mentioned, there is an S factor which is very, very critical. The social aspects in this country are very, if in agriculture, if you suddenly start saying, okay, you cannot be using so much water, you cannot be doing this, don't grow rice, it's not possible. It's not happening. Even if groundwater is getting challenged, they are asking companies, okay, you start working in areas of water, like in CSR now, you will find a lot of companies that are working in being able to increase the groundwater levels. So they are actually doing that work. So it's all like I would say it's a moving part.
Yeah.
Eventually, where we will reach is something to be seen.
Yeah. But we're taking the
But
steps.
we are taking baby
Yeah,
steps.
great. Thank you.
On this note, thank you so very much for imparting.
We can have one-on-one discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also very hungry, and I would like to invite Dr. Vidyanath Rangju. He's one of our lead ESG faculty and also the director with IICSR. Has done all the way from Hyderabad. So we would like to honor all of you. We will start with Vikesh sir.
Oh,
Vidya,
what an honor and pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a very good omen for New Year's. I'm getting the jade plant,
Yes,
which is the money.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
so thank you for hosting and making this happen for all of us. Sir.
Thank you, sir.
And now we have some of our students. This batch is actually consisting about 35 to 40 people from across the globe. But the ones who are present in Mumbai, they have been good enough that they've joined us. And we want all of, I'll just announce them. You guys come. And we all
Mr.
can.
Walia.
And
Yeah.
all of you can give, no? So it will be.
We like to receive certificates. You please.
Okay, I would invite Mr. Rajesh Lade. We have plans for all of you all as well. So since we have all the distinguished speakers, I request all of you all to come together and
Yeah.
sir, you also.
No, we can all come together.
Yeah.
We can also invite
Better.
Pramod Bhai.
Yes,
Come
sir.
forward.
That Pramod Bhai is
So you
giving.
are getting
Yeah,
the
Pramod Bhai
blessings
should
of
be
all
giving.
of them.
I will